Welcome, Golden speakers, other club members. We have representatives from around our area. This is the Area 82 contest. It's the humorous contest. It's our evaluation contest. We do have guests. Very glad to see guests here supporting our program this evening. We do have a set format that we're going to do, so I think we're just going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for your patience. Took a little bit of organizing, but I think we have all of our roles in place. And our timer and our judges, our chief judge, you have your script. You know what you're saying? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Great, well, thank you very much. And we're going to have two contests this evening. The first contest is going to be our evaluation contest. And this contest is comprised of having a speaker who gives a speech, and then we have evaluation contestants who actually evaluate that speech and come up and give that feedback. So it's a great opportunity for someone to get their speech evaluated several times. Now, as it turns out tonight, we have only one contestant in our evaluation speech section. So you may ask, why are we having a contest? Well, he has to actually do an evaluation and come in on time in order to be able to go to the division level. A lot of the clubs have had club contests. Last week, this club, Golden Speakers, had their club contest. And now we're having the area contest, which is the next level up. It's moving up the food chain. On the 30th of September is when there will be the division contest. So the winners from here will be going to the division contest. And I believe that's Z. They've rearranged it. Isn't that right? Z, just Don, we're Division Z? Yes. Okay, name change we've had. Okay, great. All right, so everyone's good. Oh, by the way, if you have your device and it makes any kind of noise, I would like you to turn that off. I find even vibrates a little disturbing, particularly when you're speaking and you're seeing people, vibrating in their chair. It's a little disturbing. So please go ahead and take care of that now. There's one thing I want to ask our target speaker. Without further ado, we will start with our evaluation contest. Tonight, our one contestant is going to be Will Burns. And our target speaker is going to be Don Wadley. But first, we want to hear from our chief judge. And this is a little different because we don't really have a full contest. So, Mr. Chief Judge, will you just describe what you'll be doing with regards to this contest?
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair, guests, and fellow Toastmasters. I confirm we have proper judging representation and that the contest officials and contestants are familiar with contest procedures. Now I'll ask the chief timer to review the timing procedures. I'm standing in for the chief timer for this announcement. For the evaluation contest, the length of a competitor's response shall be 2 to 3 minutes. The green light will be displayed at 2 minutes. The yellow light will be displayed at 2 minutes 30 seconds. The red light will be displayed at 3 minutes. The contestant is disqualified if the response exceeds 3 minutes and 30 seconds. If there's a technical failure of the lights, the assistant timer will display green, yellow, and red cards. There will be 1 minute of silence between speakers so judges can mark their ballots. Silence cell phones and other noise-making devices. Please stay quiet during the speaking and 1-minute judging periods. No photos may be taken while the contestants are speaking. If you need to leave the room, do so only during the 1-minute period between speeches. Protests regarding eligibility or originality may only be made by judges and contestants and must be reported either to the contest chair or me as chief judge. Madam Contest Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Judge. So what will happen is we're going to have our target speaker will deliver the speech, and then our evaluation contestant will be escorted out of the room by our Sergeant at Arms, who will have 5 minutes from the time the Sergeant at Arms sticks his head back in, so we want to get you back in, to complete his evaluation, at which point the Sergeant at Arms will bring him back in and he will do his evaluation of the target speech. Okay? Our contestant, you're good with that? Okay, good. All right, well, let's have the contest begin. Our target speaker for the evening is Don Wadley. My new car. My new car, Don Wadley.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. I was at a meeting the other day, and I went up to the parking lot after the meeting. And this person that I know very well came out with me. And she said, "Did you get a new car?" I said, "No, I didn't. I was looking at my car, and I was really happy with that car. I love that car. It's shiny, and it's clean, and it's got 292,275 miles on it." I thought, wow, this thing is really special. But I didn't realize that it was really an old car till she pointed out, "That's a lot of miles on a car." And I says, "Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?" So that started me thinking. So I decided that I will have to change to a newer car. And I thought, what is it that I want? Well, I live a ways north of here, and it occasionally gets kind of snowy where I live. And I thought, I definitely want some 4-wheel drive. That's what I need. And so I said, what's available? Oh, I didn't think of this. It was not that long ago that I did move to where I now live, within the last 5 years. And you know, we haven't had any snow in the last 5 years. So it was kind of like a nice, pleasant time. Well, with all this global stuff going on and everybody saying it's all a hoax, I thought, oh, maybe I better pay attention to this snowfall. So I did. And I went down to this store, and I went over to this store. Then I found a store way over here. And I went over here. And I says, I wonder what kind of cars they have. So I went inside and I started talking and said, "What do you have that's available? I'm going to have something that gets extremely good mileage, because where I live, there's no gas stations." And you know, it's just, a lot of people don't know that, but there really isn't a lot of gas stations where I live. So I mentioned that to the fellow, and he says, I have just the thing for you. I said, "But it's got to have 4-wheel drive." "Oh, it does, not a problem." So he took me over and he showed me this car. Beautiful little thing. And it had, I says, "But where do you put the gas in?" And he says, "Oh, you don't. It doesn't need gas." "Huh?" "Yeah, you plug it in." You can even use the sun for that. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't have to worry about that. Okay, that's an electric car. Ooh, this is really cool. So I said, I wonder, what are the things that I need to worry about if I get this electric car? Well, it's small. Oh, is it going to be strong enough to carry the loads that I carry around in it? And said, well, yeah. I says, well, okay, because, I do put a lot of miles on it in a year. Okay. Then I said to him, how far can I go on a charge? And he says, well, if you've got the sun thing with you, you can stop, charge up, and then go on some more. Oh, I never thought of that. That might be something that's worth thinking about. So I think about it, and I think about it, and I says, yeah, but how fast does it go? And he says, well, how fast do you need it to go? And I says, I really need it to go fast, and especially on a full load. Oh? And I said, well, he said, let me look. So he went in the back and he talked to the head technician and said, well, we can soup it up a little bit. We'll just have to change the battery. Okay. All right. Tell you what then. I will take it. But I want to keep my old car. He says, well, why? This will do everything you want. I says, well, it's important to me because, see, I've already got my college car, which was the car that I grew up in, and I've got my dad's car, which is the one that he drove for 30,000 miles, and I drove it for the remaining 397,000 miles that are on it. And I've got this. Well, it'll just fit in the shed. Okay, so I'll just put it in the shed. All right. So I said, all right, looks like I bought a new car. It's got four-wheel drive. It's got XM radio. Ooh. And it will keep me on time. Okay. Now, the only thing that I have to worry about is that with this new car, I'm going to have to explain this all to the people who help me during the biggest day of the year. Rudolph, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to stay home this year because I got a new car to drive on New Year's Eve. Madam Contest Chair.
So, Mr. Sergeant at Arms, will you please escort our contestant out? Great. Okay. So he's back now where he is? Okay, so 5 minutes on the clock. We need to start 5 minutes on the clock. You're not, you're our timer now, right, aren't you?
I got a timer too, I guess.
Well, let's see. I was gonna interview you. So could someone time 5 minutes here for Don? Good, okay, great. So while our evaluation contestant is working, we thought we might get a little word with Don Wadley. So, so we just have to mention Don pulled that speech out just flexibly tonight when we realized we had a gap in one of our role players. So he just has pulled that out. And you may, or I think you should tell them a little bit more about what your.
You think that I'm hiding a secret behind this?
This is ramp up time. Don heading into the big season for himself. So Don, tell us what you meant about the, what your altered job is. As you
It's a disease that I caught here a few years ago, about 5 years ago, and what happens is that come along about the first or second week in November, I become transfigured. I become a totally different individual. I become, it's really a strange event. I happen to just kind of walk down the street and suddenly I just have this, whoa, Merry Christmas, comes up. And I don't know what happens, but it does. Come January 3rd, I usually wake up and say, wow, a lot has sure happened. North Korea is still here. Wow.
Yeah, well, okay, so just in case you still need a little more, connecting of dots there. So Don
You want me to do this
is,
legit?
well, Don, I just want to, I'm just going to put the label out there. Professional Santa Claus at the mall. We're talking the full, the lines and the pictures and the what do you wants and the
And
like
the
that.
puppy dogs.
All day long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's impressive that he turns that around. Art.
You know Jim Selinsky?
Jim Selinsky.
Seems to
Why
be
do
the man from
I know the name.
Professional Santa Claus.
Is that right? Where at?
He does that somewhere in this general district. He worked at Jefferson County Health Center.
Oh,
Well, there's an imposter out then, obviously.
obviously.
Because, you just can't have a gazillion Santas. I mean, anyway, so
I'm the one.
Don, this Santa and the Rudolph and the new car, that's a situation.
Yeah.
Well,
it
we
is.
want to thank you for stepping up and being our target speaker
been
on
fun.
such short notice. Don is also the our past chairman of our prison club committee in the entire district. So Don has been to all the prison clubs and he's been involved with getting them set up and getting support for them.
See, you never wear a hat. I've never
No,
seen
it
you wear
messes
a
my
hat.
hair up.
Yeah, I know.
It
But
smashes
see,
it
I've
down.
been wearing so many hats that's the reason that I don't have any hair left.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Don, good, all right. So how's our timing going? Where are we? 4, okay. 4, okay. Let's see, what else can we do to you guys?
You know a joke?
I don't know what, well, okay, quick hello to all of our guests. We have Hips in the back. Yes. Ed and Del, we have Ted, we have a Wallace, right? Ted, thank you for coming from another club and supporting. Gentlemen, say, okay. Oh, I thought I've seen you, okay. I work in the same building, so see these faces. Very nice, very nice. We have our guest from last week. Hodeva. I'll work on it. Hodeva.
It takes 6 months.
Hodeva. No, really, we really do want to try to get it.
Okay. Actually, this is not my name. My name is Hudayfa.
Hodeva.
Hudayfa.
Hodeva.
So you still have 5 minutes?
No, we're gonna. Okay, now we know how we're gonna spend our time here. Everybody on the count of 3. And Carlton, is that right?
Yes.
Carlton, very good to see you. All right, well, very good. So we're now ready. We're back on contest time. And at this point, we would like to welcome our evaluation contestant. To give his evaluation, please help me warmly welcome Will Byrne.
Thank you, Jean. And thank you, Dawn, for stepping up here at the last minute to really bring it home here for us and for giving me a chance to do this. I always appreciate evaluations, and I always appreciate hearing your speeches. Well, Dawn, as you probably gathered from his speech, is an experienced speaker. Which is why I was a little surprised at first when he was up here. He started to go back a little bit. The pacing, let's stay at the start. And I wouldn't have brought it up for anybody else, but for somebody experienced like him, I just wanted to mention that to you, Dawn. But first off, your love of your car, your old car, shone through. I mean, you did a great job about talking about how much you loved it and about how bringing up how many miles it had. You obviously drove it a lot, but that also highlighted the problem of needing to get a new vehicle very soon. My suggestion would be to, if you happen to have a name for your car, I don't know if you do or you don't, but if you do, to maybe include that in there to humanize or anthropomorphize the vehicle, if you so choose. I like how you dove into what you actually required for the vehicle. You mentioned four-wheel drive, and without any gas stations nearby, the importance of fuel efficiency for his vehicle. I didn't quite understand what climate change being a hoax would mean in this context. I wasn't sure if you meant that made it more likely to buy the vehicle for the four-wheel drive or less likely. I wasn't quite sure with that one, so maybe clarify that if you give this talk again. And I would have liked if you'd added just a little bit more details to the car place itself. I didn't know if it was a large chain with that clean, pristine environment. You know, I feel like I'm walking into a hospital or something, or one of those like sort of really cozy kind of places with a coffee machine in the corner or something. Then they mentioned the vehicle. It doesn't need gas. That was surprising. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? What's with this vehicle? And I liked how your need for speed came out. You didn't mention this early on as your requirements, but there it was hiding in the background, and it came out, and I liked how that sort of appeared as the speech evolved. I also liked how you spoke about the legacy of your vehicles, about your dad's vehicle, about the college car, and so on. My suggestion there would be just to flesh that out a little bit more. Give us the make and the model so we can just get that perfect image of that college car in your mind. Like my 1990 Toyota Corolla that was gray, that was kind of coming apart at the edges, but it was a wonderful vehicle. And I liked how you closed with an allusion to Christmas and the double duty that you work around that time. In summary, I would have liked more detail about the cars and the scene, but I loved how many details did come out in the course of your speech. Don always puts a lot of personality into his talks, and I loved this speech on the search for his sleigh. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chief Judge, I think we're just looking for our timing report. And we're just going to have a really quick little interview, I think, of Will. Will, why don't you come on up, our contestant? Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about first year of marriage? How's that been? Highlights?
How much time do I have, Gene?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Humorous speech contest.
Yeah, I get to cram one year of marriage into 2 minutes of speech giving. Boy, 1 year in, and I'm not entirely sure what kind of life I was leading before then. How I was able to, my wife was really good at pulling out the things that I could do better. And I realized that even basic things I used to think I could do are a little more challenging now. But it really just illustrates, it's true. But it also illustrates how much of a team we've become in that year. How we always love traveling. Actually, for our honeymoon, went to Denver, had a great time there. For our 1 year anniversary, went down to Kansas City, and despite being 3.5 hours away, I was amazed that in all that time, as close as it's been, I never realized all the things that I could actually do there in that city. We had amazing Kansas City barbecue. We went to museums, including the wonderful Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, which is all free, by the way. Blew my mind. And I just love traveling with her because we always have the same sense of adventure. She wants to hit the Boulevard Brewery tour 1 minute, and then she wants to go and do the the museum's the next. She always is up for adventure, always up for something new. And then she's also good at kind of knowing when it's time to, when she's done, I'm done. We can kind of shut that together. So it's been great,
I realize that was a really open-ended question to ask you, but I knew you'd come up with something good. I knew you would. All right, we're good? And Mr. Chief Judge, we're good so far? Are we good then? Are we ready? Well, I'm going to move on to the next contest. Okay, great. All righty. We seem to be adding bodies in here, so welcome to guests and other people that are coming in. It's great. We're going to move on to our second contest, and that is our humorous speech contest. And actually, before we do that, so a 1-minute stretch, everyone. You can get up, you can stretch, say hello to your neighbor, just a little stretch, wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. Okay. All right. Good, yeah. Oh, belly dancing. Okay, good. We got that going. Hula hooping. Heart attack in the back there. Come on, keep going. All right. Okay, good. So we all stretched. Everyone's got their blood rolling. Coursing, blood courses. Okay, so for this contest, all of the contestants may remain in the room. Earlier in the evening, the contestants drew lots to determine their speaking order. The order of the contestants will be, our first speaker is Becky Dubé. Our second speaker is Emery Styron. And our third speaker is Art Atkinson. Once again, I will say that again. Our first speaker is Becky Dubé. Our second so, I mean, we might as well get feeling really good. And our second speaker is Emery Styron. And our third speaker is Art Atkinson. Okay. Can a hammer get a fly? Oh no, I missed him. Okay. All right, so for a review of the rules of the humorous speech contest, please welcome Chief Judge Rick Starr.
Madam Contest Chair, guests, and fellow Toastmasters, I confirm we have proper judging representation and that the contest officials and contestants are familiar with the contest procedures. Chief Timer, would you please review the timing procedures?
Yes, thank you, Chief Judge. The length of the humorous speech shall be 5 to 7 minutes. The green light, where is the screen, will be displayed at 5 minutes. The yellow light, there it is, the yellow light will be displayed at 6 minutes, and the red light will be displayed at 7 minutes. The contestant is disqualified if the speech exceeds 7 minutes and 30 seconds. If there's a technical failure of the lights, no, that won't happen. The assistant timer will display the green, yellow, and red cards. Mr. Chief Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. There will be 1 minute of silence between speakers so judges can mark their ballots. Please respect the work of the speakers and judges. Silence cell phones and noise-making devices. Please stay quiet during the speaking and 1 minute judging periods. No photos may be taken while the contestants are speaking. If you need to leave the room, do so only during the 1 minute period between speeches. Protests regarding eligibility or originality may only be made by judges and contestants and must be reported either to the contest chair or myself as chief judge. Madam Contest Chair.
And our Sergeant at Arms, would you like to go ahead and take a seat? I think we're past the time. I'm wondering, did that clock just die, or is it just my,
It's 5 minutes slow.
is that the right time?
It's about close. 5 minutes slow.
Okay.
I don't know.
You think it died?
It's the right time.
It is the right time?
That's right, yeah.
It's only 10, it's 7:30 to 7, wow, okay. We're
Yeah.
moving right along?
Quick, you know.
Okay. All right, good. Must be in some time warp or something. All right, okay, so it looks like we have everything in order. And as an audience, I'm just gonna mention to you guys that you're very supportive. It's a really good part of the whole contest when you're supporting the group, the speaker, and, you know, giving them your attention and making them feel good. It's not the easiest thing to get up and compete, so you have your role as well. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome up our first contestant for the evening, Becky Dubé. First trip to Food Mart. First trip to Food Mart, Becky Dubé.
Shopping list in hand, I was eager and excited to go shopping. Madam Contestant Chair, Techmasters and guests, this was my very first shopping trip in the United States of America. Having arrived a week ago, my friend decided I was ready to go shopping. So we left our 2 children taking care of each other and we went shopping. I walk into the store and I'm confronted with aisle upon aisle upon aisle upon aisle, shelves filled with stuff, so much stuff. What do I need to get? I need to get some bread, I need to get some peanut butter, I need to get some meat, I need to get some vegetables. Let's see how this goes. I walk in, ooh, it's a little bit intimidating here, but let me just observe for a little bit and see what everybody else is doing. So I stood a little bit to the side and kind of watched people. Okay, get a cart first. I grab the cart. It feels a little more secure with the cart. Can you just hold on to the cart? I walk down, bread. The whole shelf is filled with bread. There's brown bread, there's white bread, there's red bread, there's round loaves, there's potato bread. Which one do I need? Oh, there's even green bread. There should never be green bread. Which one do I choose out of all this bread? Maybe not. Oh, this is good. Wonder Bread. It must be really good, right? It's called Wonder Bread. I pick it up and I turn it over, and it's got an expiration date 2 weeks from today. It really must be Wonder Bread. If you can keep it for 2 weeks and it's still good, that's good bread. Put it in my cart. And I go down. Oh, jam. Jam is easy. It's all sugar anyway, so throw it in my cart. And the next thing is peanut butter. All right, so I think I've seen this one. I saw this one advertised on the TV the day before yesterday. So let's look at that one. Ooh. 75% peanuts. Now, what is the other 25% in there? I don't know about this one. I think I'll put this one back. Where I come from, peanut butter is made out of peanuts. So it should be 100%. That's a good one. I think I'll get that one. I walk down and I walk down. Ooh, there's a toddler throwing a tantrum in that aisle. I'm avoiding that aisle. I'll go back this way. And I get to the meat section. There's beef, there's chicken, there's some other mystery meat over there, I don't know. But well, I like beef, so I think I'm gonna get beef. So I start looking at the beef. Ooh, this looks okay. Whoa, that's $7 a pound. That's almost $20 a kg. Who pays $20 for beef? Where I come from, beef is the cheapest meat there is. Chicken is most expensive. So guess what? I'm getting some chicken. I'm going to be eating chicken for the rest of my life in the United States. The only thing that I have left to get now is the milk. So let's go. Oh, that looks like the milk aisle. All right. Whole milk, 2%, 1%, skim milk. Now, 2% milk. What does 2% milk mean? Is there like 2% of milk and you fill the rest with water? What exactly is 2% milk? I didn't get it. All right, I'll grab the whole milk. I think I'm more comfortable with the whole milk. So I take that. Ooh, look at the time. I have to rush. Go grab some vegetables and I throw them in the cart and I go to the front to pay. I get to the front, I'm ready to pay. I've been adding up all these numbers in my head. So when I get up there, they tell me $25.80 something cents. $25? I added all this up. It should only be like $22. Where's the other $3? What is with that? Well, we added tax. Now, why do you suppose they couldn't have added the tax back there? I mean, does the tax change every week, every month? Why didn't they add the tax in there? Anyway, I pay for my groceries, rush out, get to the car, and we rush off and we get home. When we get home, our two kids are both crying. The toddler is crying because she's been left alone for the first time, and the 13-year-old is crying because the toddler is crying. Ladies and gentlemen, this was my first trip in a store in the United States of America.
Now, Mr. Timer, please give us 1 minute for our judges to complete their judging. Everyone else is quiet. All right? Thank you very much. Our next contestant, Emery Styron, Lessons from My Children. Lessons from My Children, Emery Styron.
On August 21st, people all across this country experienced totality. How many of you got in on the solar eclipse? Well, my wife and I went down to Missouri to experience totality there, but we also experienced totality of another kind. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, that Sunday before we dropped our 6th and last child off at college. So now we are feeling totaled, as in when your insurance company tells you your old car is not worth fixing. But this empty nest thing, it does grow on you. And I've had time to reflect on some of the lessons I've learned from nearly 40 years of parenting. How many of you are parents, with children at home or grown? And how many of you are hoping to be parents at some time in your life? Several more. And I don't want to leave anyone out. So how many of you are now or have ever been a child? Okay, I think we've covered everybody. And so all of us are qualified to agree on this. Parents don't know it all. They don't have all the answers. Parenting is a learn on the job type of endeavor. I have learned 3 things that I want to share with you tonight in my career as a parent. The first of these is that children are tougher than you think. Case in point, when my son Jackson was 6, he had a pet lizard, Lizzie, who was not doing well. Lizzie was ailing. And I worried, how would Jackson handle the loss of his beloved pet? How would I prepare him to deal with the awesome finality of death? Well, I found out. Later that day or two, that weekend, I heard happy shrieks coming from the backyard. I looked out the window, there was Jackson and his cousin playing catch with Lizzie's lifeless body. Jackson had found a way to deal with his grief. Another surprise, later that day, Lizzie came back to life. Apparently she hadn't died, she had just gone into suspended animation and somehow survived being tossed back and forth. So another lesson, lizards, like kids, are more resilient than you think. Lesson number 2. The things we as parents think are so big and important often turn out to be small. And the things we think are minor can be big things. Another case in point, like most parents, we wanted our children to have the most meaningful experiences possible. So we spent a fortune taking them to Disney World, going on a Disney cruise, going to the Atlanta Summer Olympics, flying to Paris, taking a driving vacation around central France. What do you suppose the payoff on all that investment would be? Zilch? Zero? Nada? I don't see really any benefit. About the only thing I heard from the kids was, we'd rather be home doing stuff with our friends this summer. On the other hand, they're in their 30s now, and what do they talk about? They enjoyed hearing me play my old guitar and sing, "You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey." They treasure those trips to the donut shop on Saturday morning with their mother. Go figure. And the third thing, when words fail, use hugs. Children will say and do things that often leave you speechless or almost speechless. After you've said, "No 10-year-old of mine is going to have a tongue stud," or you actually drove your car out on the pond to check the thickness of the ice, there's really not much else to say. Just take a deep breath. Wait for your blood pressure to calm down, and then give that kid a hug. Kids need to know that you love them, no matter what. And they also need to know that even if you yell at them 3 times a day for 30 years, you can't do that they actually can do anything they set their minds to. So in closing, remember, if you get to thinking you know it all, spend some time with children. You'll find out they're tougher than you think. The little things are really the big things. and hugs work better than words. Madam Contest.
Mr. Timer, may we please have 1 minute of silence for our judges to complete their paperwork. All right. So we're ready now for our third and final speaker of the evening. Art Atkinson, How to Sink a Cardboard Boat. How to Sink a Cardboard Boat, Art Atkinson.
What could be more fun and exciting than building and racing a boat made out of corrugated cardboard around a 200-yard water course and winning the race? Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. For the past 2 years, I've participated in Fairfield's Great Cardboard Boat Regatta on Bonneville Lake. You say you haven't heard of the Cardboard Boat Regatta? This is an exercise in ingenuity inspired by the design principles of Bucky Fuller, inventor of the geodesic dome. Ever since 1974, when Bucky's engineering students invented the first cardboard boat regatta, regattas have been held on lakes all over North America, lakes and in swimming pools and on rivers. And the vast majority of the contestants in these regattas are focused on one thing. That is building a boat that's going to last through the elimination heats of their regatta, allowing them to paddle their way to a first place victory. I think they're missing out on the fun. I discovered that it's more fun to sink the boat than it is to paddle hard and win a race. I have figured out 6 rules that if you follow these rules, you're virtually guaranteed to sink a boat. And if you do it right, you get a pretty good chance of winning the highly coveted Titanic award for the most spectacular sinking. So rule number 1, do not begin building your boat more than a week before the race. This is the most important rule. It ensures that you're going to make faulty design decisions. You'll make construction errors. You'll waste time. It ensures that you're not going to adequately waterproof your corrugated cardboard. Second rule is choose a material to build your boat out of that you're not familiar with. This is a sample of the material that we chose to use this year. I think you'll agree, I'm just going to pass it around, it's incredibly light and strong when it's dry. But it is corrugated cardboard. We wasted at least a day figuring out how to bend and cut and glue and paint this material. Third principle, familiarize yourself with the rules of the regatta so that you don't build your boat using forbidden materials like wax-impregnated cardboard, fiberglass resin, wood, metal. If your boat is found on inspection before the race to contain any of these forbidden materials, you can't race the boat. And if you can't race, you cannot win the Titanic Award. Fourth principle, skimp on painting your boat. If you followed rule number 1, you haven't got time to put more than 2 hasty coats of water-based latex house paint on this cardboard. And when those get in water, it's gonna sink. It would take at least 4 or 5 coats, well cured, with at least 3 or 4 days of drying for each coat to waterproof the cardboard, and you haven't got that kind of time. So you paint with 2 coats, and you look great on dry land, but even so, you're gonna sink. Here we are this year, looking great on dry land. Equal with cardboard. Fifth principle, do not test your boat. If you follow rule number 1 and number 4, the boat is a pile of wet cardboard at the end of your test and you don't have time to build another. Rule number 6. Put together a great team. We were lucky this year that Captain Jack Sparrow decided to join our team, and his dramatics while he was sinking that boat and his incredible costume definitely must have had something to do with our winning the coveted Titanic Award this year. So what's the message that I want to leave you with? Failure is an option. Don't miss out. Plan to fail. Have a contest too.
Mr. Timer, would you please give us 1 minute for judges to conduct their paperwork? Mr. Chief.
Madam Contest Chair, ballots and timing sheets have been covered.
All right, great, thank you. Okay, while our chief judge and ballot counter are working, let's go ahead and have the contestants come back up and we can talk a little bit more to them. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a really good, core belly workout with these guys, so thank you very much for that. Maybe I'll start with Becky first. And Becky, I don't know, you've given me a couple of ideas here, and I don't know which one to pick. Maybe tell us a little bit about doing half marathons. That sounds very interesting.
I don't know about interesting. I have a love-hate relationship with running. So every year or so, I figure I can run and I'll do a half marathon.
So are you training for something now?
No, I usually run the Christie, Illinois Champaign, which is in April.
Okay,
So I start training at the end of the year.
okay. Well, excellent. And then maybe you could also, just one more thing, you could mention, because your story refers to you had just arrived in the U.S. Tell us where you were from and then kind of where that food mart was, because I know, unless I'm missing something, that we don't pay tax on food in Iowa. So right away I know she's not at a grocery store in Iowa. But anyway, so tell us where you came from. And
I am originally from Zimbabwe. I was born there and I lived there until 17 years ago when I came. And the food store was actually in Georgia.
okay, where
And
they
it was an interesting visit.
All right, well, thank you very much. see. Emery, you indicate that something that really inspires you the most is people who overcome adversity. Can you give us an example and tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I feel like I didn't grow up in especially adverse circumstances. I had two parents and a close family that we never went hungry. There were schools and activities and emotional support, and there are people who in this country and even more so overseas who have literally nothing. Many of them are able to press onward and achieve things. That inspires me.
Great. Let me ask you one more question. One of your favorite quotes is, "Let it be." Now, this could be just the result of 40 years of parenting, and you're being totaled, and you're just like, whatever. But why does that quote particularly appeal to you?
Well, we try to get wiser with age. That was a Beatles song from way back when I was younger. I enjoyed the song back then, but it didn't mean so much to me. But underneath this seething exterior is a seething interior. And I do a lot of worrying and a lot of fretting, and I have to remind myself that doesn't advance the cause. And the smartest thing is just to let things be.
All right, well, that's really good. Yeah, because you may be in the eye of the storm, but you've already got grandkids coming, and it's a whole nother thing that's coming your way. So, burning your loins. All right, Art. I don't even know quite what to ask you, Art.
Well, the quote that I was going to say inspires
Yeah, what were you
me
going to say that you left?
is the John Lennon quote. Life is what happens while you're making other plans.
Okay, so tell us about that. Tell us about that. What does that appeal to you, and why?
Well, I was making plans to have a boat that didn't sink. And life handed me something better. At least it seemed better at the time. I laughed myself silly both years doing it. I want to say I have the honor of having the inventor of the Fairfield Cardboard Boat Regatta in the room, Therese Comiskey, my good friend. Please stand.
The nice part about being the person who organizes it, I don't actually have to float one of those boats. It's a lot of fun. You should come next summer.
I do have a question. Are there competitors for the Titanic Award? And if so, is it the timing? It took you 55 seconds to sink it. Is there someone that sunk it in 30 seconds? Would that be a win? Is it
There's judges.
Yeah,
is it more about like what you're doing as you're sinking?
Yeah, it's all with fun. So I mean, they were so spectacular at their sinking that.
And it was Captain Jack, at the very last minute, standing up and saluting and going down with the boat that I'm sure had something to do with
So
it.
style points.
Exactly.
Points. All right.
Yeah, style points.
So we can be looking forward to another speech about, now once you've got the mechanics of how to fail and you've got your boat all crapped out and everything, then you can get into the style, like what actually does win it on top of that.
Yeah, I'm thinking dramatics, histrionics, costume.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Probably
so,
makeup even comes in.
All right. All right, well, stay tuned. That was really well done. Thank you. I thought I saw our chief judge and then he went out again. Okay. Who else can we get up here? Do we have any club announcements while we have a break here? We're good?
Potentially, on 30th of September is still the plan for the division contest.
Okay, okay.
Stay tuned for that.
And Emery, do we have, are you looking for people who want to do speeches for upcoming weeks?
Yeah, I think I've heard from Dennis. I hear from others.
Okay, so Emery is our Vice President of Education, and Toastmasters keeps rolling. Yes.
A message from the treasurer to
Oh.
the golden speakers that are in the room. We're collecting for the next 6 months worth of dues. See me after.
Even if you're not a golden speaker, Dan will take money. Dan will take money.
I'll put it in escrow.
You can buy now, and then we can get you oriented, so, yeah, that's good. All right, hey, Don? Could you maybe do a quick check and see if they're close and what we're doing? I don't want to start song and dance up here. If we're not.
I have a question.
Yes, Therese.
Can you tell me how Toastmasters got started?
I believe it was 1925-ish in there. It was a gentleman, who was the guy who started Toastmasters? Smedley, Ralph Smedley. And it was started out, it was men, and it was just emphasis on learning how to speak in front of groups and building that way. And it took a while before women were allowed to get in. I remember I saw that somewhere, maybe the 50s, I'm not sure on that.
73.
Was it 73? All right, don't get me started. But anyway. Okay, so 73, wow, well, obviously, the men felt they had to get a lot of practice before they let us in because we were gonna just run them over once we got in. That's what it was, now I understand. Okay, and then, so it's just 90 plus years of Toastmasters. There have been several different, the program evolves, and we do have guides for both individual achievement and working at your own pace. We also have club achievements, which are really the aggregate of individual achievements. So clubs that have individuals that are achieving their goals are also achieving club goals, and then we have areas, and we have divisions, and then we have a district.
So how many clubs estimate are there in like Iowa?
Well, so
100. 100.
is it up to 100?
It's a few clubs short,
Yeah.
but we're working on it.
Okay, so 90 to 100 up in there. So it's a good group.
And I think it's 19,000 worldwide.
Clubs.
Clubs.
Actually, I just said something about 13,000 at the Chamber of Commerce, but
I saw
okay.
that
So
number.
rabbits, it's just like they're like rabbits, just
And we're in 144 countries now. I just saw this morning.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we're global. It's an international organization. If you want to go to Toastmasters.org, you can always take a look at that and noodle around. That is the international organization. You can find Toastmasters clubs just all around the world. It's kind of fun. So let's see here. Okay. Does that answer your question? Thank you, Therese. Okay. And we happen to have just a plug here, the Golden Speakers Toastmasters. We are one of the top clubs in the district. We have our name on this plaque many, many times, which is a high-performing statement. We have all of our ribbons. We always are getting really top-level achievements. And so we meet here every Tuesday evening, 7:45 to 9:15. Just come on down, bring your grocery list. We always say you might as well get your shopping done while you're here. Afterwards, we all go out and, but we'll help you, and you can learn with us and have fun with us. I mean, you think you've been laughing like this is some sort of odd thing that happened tonight. No, we are generally laughing and having a good time. Yeah, so. All right, so Mr. Chief Judge, we're all good? Okay, great. There's one thing I don't know. Hang on a second. Everybody, okay, so everybody, put your fingers in like this. And then go, no.
You're not. turn off the hearing aids.
All right. Okay, you can take them out now. All right. First, I'd like to welcome and announce the Area 82 Evaluation Contestant who will be moving along to our next, I'm wanting to say winner, but
That's fine.
winner's okay. No, okay.
He's still a winner.
Yeah.
Our guy, Will Burns. Okay. So Will be going up and doing intellectual sparring at the division level, and we're going to want to wish him well. And actually, we also invite people to go to the division contest. And Dennis is in touch with our area director and our division director, and will be able to send us out details on location, where, when, like that. It's supposed to be September 30th, but the time and the location. You know, we can go and cheer winners on from our area. And they always like to have some help as well. You can make a day of it, you can, wherever it's going to be. Do we know where it's going to be?
Last time I checked with him, I believe it was Davenport.
It is
I'll
Davenport.
double check with Betty though, because I'll check the date and time too. 'Cause
Okay.
that's still 30th right now.
Okay, okay, great. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to go on to our humorous speaking contest. Let me just see if I have anything special in the script here. I mean, it's pretty cut and dried, but, okay, good. All right, so the winners of our humorous speech contest. Our third place winner, please help me warmly welcome up to the front, Emery Styron. Our second place winner, please help me warmly welcome up to the front, Becky Dubay. And finally, our first place winner, please help me warmly welcome Art Atkinson. And Will, I do have a certificate for you there, right there, great. Okay, so I just want to say that second place is very important, because if for any reason our first place contestant is not able to attend the division contest, then the second place person can go and would be going. And Dennis, as far as you know, we're just sending one at this point, right? Because
That's what I know of right now.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so Becky and Art can exchange phone numbers, and particularly Art, if he needs to get a hold of you, it can happen. He could be sinking somewhere, and
It's practice. It's
Need-
practice.
need backup. All right. Okay. Well, I'd like to, at this point, we're coming to a close of our contest. I'd like to thank some people. I can find my page. So when you do a contest, it's never just done by one person. There are a number of people. So we want to thank the following people. Well, first we want to thank all of our contestants. Without contestants, we wouldn't have a contest. That's almost goes without saying. We also want to thank our judges. Would our judges please stand, and we can give them a round of applause as well. And in the back as well. Very good. Okay. We had timers, obviously. It's not just what you're saying, it's are you saying it within time? And we had 2 timers, and we had Don Wadley and we had Ted Wallace. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Great. And before Don gets too comfortable, we want to thank Don for a very quick and very effective target speech there for our evaluation. We want to especially thank our chief judge for judge wrangling everybody into shape. Okay, our sergeant at arms, Fraser Jones, who is just getting everything all set up and keeping everybody in line and escorting, and just really was helpful in getting the contest set up. Thank you very much, Fraser. Okay. Great, and of course we have to thank our cameraman, who is there recording this. This will be on our Facebook page, which is also on YouTube. You can find it, you can go and look at this, you can laugh many times again if you want to watch. Those of you that have been competing, if you want to take a look and see what that looked like, it's fun. And you can get other people in the room with you and watch it, and you know, they may not speak to you again, but that's it's okay, it's okay.
Plus, we'd like to thank our contest chair, Jean
Yeah.
Symington Craig.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you very much, and feel free to come back. Next week we'll be on our regularly scheduled programming here at Golden Speakers. And if there's no other business, Mr. President, here for Golden Speakers?
Pay the dues. That's me.
Pay the dues. Yeah, money hits the road. Actually, all Toastmasters, this is your dues time, so wherever you're paying dues, you need to be doing that now. Great, that's good. And with that, thank you all of our guests for coming. We really appreciate that. Should we let them stand up? We've got like a minute or two. Yeah, okay, so let me ask Ed Hip, and I know if I say, tell us one thing you liked about the meeting, that will never happen, like just one, but. You got one? Okay, so tell us.
I liked Art hitting his head with that cardboard. And getting that we didn't get it the first time, doing it again.
Yeah.
I think that's a repeat for the counter.
Del, how about you? Have something you liked about what we just did today?
I always like coming here. It's inspiring, it's funny, it's heartwarming. I'd much rather be here than in front of a digital device.
Well, that
That's what she calls me, a digital class.
the terms of endearment in today's marriages, I don't know. But, all right, and so Therese, one thing you liked about the meeting?
I just love hearing these personal stories. I love to laugh. This was thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you.
All right, very good. Okay, and gentleman in the back who's kind of being quiet there. But
Yeah, it was fun, it was interesting.
fun, good,
Yeah.
all right, good. Fun and interesting both. They're not mutually exclusive. That's the cool thing. Let's see, and yeah, don't go back.
It was exciting and spontaneous, and I like his lessons about children.
Okay, Hudaifa.
What's that?
I'll work on it, but just tell me something you liked about this meeting.
I didn't like anything.
I don't think I've ever had to deal with
It should be something new. Yeah, people learn every day, so you just
So
learn
I
a new
just
thing.
learned something, how to
Yeah.
deal with someone who absolutely can't find a single thing positive. Okay. You know, it's hard to get a Toastmaster to shut their mouth, but I think that just happened.
You said let it go, right?
Yeah, let it be. I just let it be. Okay. All right, we have to talk. We have to talk. Okay, very good. And David? David? Okay, David? Yeah, what's something you liked?
Hi. I love all of you.
David, focus. What's something you liked, though?
I love the speeches, I love coming to support people, and I like seeing people grow and expand.
Okay, great. And I'm just gonna, okay, is there anybody who hasn't said something tonight? Because I think I've just about, this gentleman here, tell us where you're from, and, I mean, yeah, I think you're a president somewhere.
Cambridge is Toastmasters.
Okay, Texas. Okay, and what's your name?
Matt.
Matt, and what, Matt Yeager? Matt, maybe you could you just give us a couple of sentences about the value you have or finding with Toastmasters at Cambridge?
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, this is not, while this was very entertaining and humorous speaking, contests always are, the regular Toastmasters meetings are also usually full of funny stories and enjoyable moments, and Toastmasters meeting in general should be something that you'll leave with a smile on your face.
Great. Well, nice to meet you, and thank you for coming over and bringing contestants and being a part of the club. Okay, now that we're all thoroughly clapped out, thank you for coming again. I'm going to call this contest and meeting adjourned.